time? I'm like, no, I don't think so. I'm just gonna go buy my own weed.
Are you what do you do to keep busy?
Fuck, you know what? Starting yesterday, I started booking all these podcasts. I'm like, you know what? Fuck, I'm gonna just podcast the fuck out of it. And
There you
I'm
go.
like, I got another one at 3 o'clock today, a friend of mine, and I'm like, I'm just gonna start booking all these people that are available. I know a lot of people that are at home and stuff that I'm sure would be like, yeah, I'll call you, whatever, Skype you. And I this is the first one I'm doing right now with the Skype, so I don't know. I tested it with my wife, and it seems to be working. I mean, the quality is what it is, but it's better than anything, you know?
It's better than using Facebook, I'll tell you that. Skype is much better.
Is it really?
Yeah, big time. Big
Good?
time.
That's a good thing to know because I think a lot of people are either going to want to, oh, let's use Facebook. Let's use Facebook. I'm going to try to push.
Well, Skype is so easy. I don't even think you need an account. And if you do, it just it gives you the option to link with your Google, and you just click that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I had the old version of Skype on my computer. I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, "Fuck, it's not working." I was like, "I don't understand." I would click on Skype and it would say non-available. I'm like, "The fuck is Skype down because of this coronavirus shit?"
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be. And then I realized I'm like, "Yo, this looks old." So I went on the Skype website and I downloaded the latest version, and then I'm like, "Oh, okay, shit, it works." So I tested it with my wife. The problem is I was trying to do it through the software that I use normally, OBS, like you use XSplit there, but
We
that
use XSplit
just
to record it, yeah.
that wasn't working out. So I'm like, fuck. And then I found out that you can actually record just by clicking record on Skype. So I'm like, well, I'll just do that. I tested that out with my wife. It seems to be working fine, and so I decided to do it. But yeah, I've been I don't know, a lot. I started working out again and trying to keep busy. I hang out with my kids, but my son is on fucking Fortnite. If I didn't tell him to take breaks, he'd be on that shit from 8 in the morning to 8 in the morning to 10 at night. Like,
Oh,
it's
tell me,
crazy.
I want to play with him.
Huh?
I still have it. I haven't played him forever though. I remember there was a time where I was playing every night for like 4 hours.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it was like probably like a good like 3 week span where I'd play every night. It was fucked up.
I suck so much at that fucking game. I can't. I get
But the
so
fun thing about
frustrated.
that is that even if you suck, it's like there's another game 5 minutes later, so you're
I
just
know.
ready to go. Where in
But
Call
then-
of Duty, if you die, you have to wait. You know, it's a whole thing.
Wait, I saw there's a new Call of Duty that's like Fortnite, no? Right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Isn't
I'm
it?
playing it now with my buddies. Yeah, we all bought it.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's fucking sick. It's
Because
really sick.
I saw it was free to download. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
normally when it's free to download, it's something like Apex or Fortnite or.
No, they
that
did it
everybody-
obviously for this. But the thing is,
Yeah.
it's to buy. You have to buy. You don't have to buy the expansion pack. Like gives you the campaign. So this
Yeah.
is just an online game like Fortnite. So it's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sick. Yeah, it's pretty sick. But now I like Call of Duty. It's the first Call of Duty game I ever bought.
For real?
Yeah, so now I want to buy all of them. Fuck.
All those first shooter games, I'm so bad at them. I like playing them, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I play them on super easy mode, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't. I suck so much at it. It's fucked, man.
When I do the
Like,
campaign modes and the story modes, I'm good. And then when I go online, I realize how not good I am. You know,
oh, yeah.
you know? It's like that.
That's what happens on Fortnite. Fuck, I go on these things and I try to hide out as long as possible, but I'm like, these
One time
young-
I won a Fortnite game without even killing anybody. The guy, it was me and this one guy at the end. The circle was getting so small. He ended up falling off of his build and he died. And I won without killing anybody. I was like, has this ever happened? Fuck, it must have happened more often than not.
Oh yeah, these motherfuckers, they hide behind bushes the whole time,
Yeah.
and then they just stay there till it's like 1 versus 1, and then some of them just get lucky.
And I don't know how accurate they are from like fucking 500 yards away. I'm right in front of the guy. I'm missing him, and these guys are hitting me with headshots on top of my build. Like it's so fucked up.
My
then
son,
Then I realize I'm playing against 12-year-olds. You know.
you know what's the worst? My son watches these YouTube videos about these fucking Fortnite
Like Ninja and
yeah.
those guys. Yeah.
I see them play and I'm like, I don't understand how they're fucking good at this. Even my son is okay, but he's not a pro, right?
Yeah.
But like when I watch him play, like he'll be able to like switch between the gun and building and guns like so fast, and then he starts shooting and jumping. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I tried playing yesterday for like 30 seconds. I tried to figure out like gun, axe, gun, okay, this button, and then 30 seconds later, what's that fucking button again? And then I'm like dead. I'm like, ah, fuck.
It's like, also the build to make the build, that the way these guys fucking build houses and shit in 5 seconds, and I'm building a wall behind me. I'm still getting shot. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. It's a whole fucking mess.
Oh man, it's horrible. So I downloaded this game. I bought this game. I don't know why. I woke up a couple days ago and I'm like, I want to play some fucking Street Fighter. Remember Street Fighter 2?
Oh yeah.
On like Super NES. I'm like, I wonder if they have it on PS4. Sometimes they have older games. They had a fucking 30th anniversary that had all the Street Fighter games.
Fucking way.
No, not all. Sorry. Street Fighter from 1 to 3 and Alpha as well. There's like 9 different games.
Okay.
So I just fucking bought it for like $24 and I played it for like 3 days and I'm like got bored of it. I'm like,
yeah, that's what it is though. It's because I bought Call of Duty. I did my campaign. Now I just play with my friends when I want to play. You know what? 5 days ago. And I'm bored of it already. You know?
Yeah. That's what I get with video games.
Yeah, I do my. I'm in an NHL season with my friends. I do that. I do my franchise. I have Madden. I play Madden online league. It goes pretty fast, so I can play every day. I can play 1 game a day. But other than that, I've just been watching Netflix, man. I've been catching up on shows. Like I just started watching the 3rd season of Ozark. Ozark.
I haven't started watching that. I think we're gonna start watching that.
You like it a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Ozark is pretty sick.
Did you watch fucking Tiger King?
Yeah, I watched it 2 days ago. And one day, everything. I just binge watched the whole thing. I was working on my laptop in the background. I had it on, but I wouldn't be able to work. I'd be like, what did I just hear? I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this story is so fucked up, man. I can't figure it out. Like, how can nobody know that this guy was like a fucking psychopath? And I think that girl, Carol, killed her husband. For sure.
Oh, for sure.
Or she knows him, or she knows something. She knows something. She knows that he's dead in Costa Rica and she doesn't want to say why. You know, like.
Yeah, there's definitely something that happened with that fucking. Yo, she's crazy though. Like, I remember I was on Twitter and I was like starting to see all these like Tiger King, and then I was like, why is Tiger King trending? What's this fucking thing? And then I saw that it was a Netflix show, so I didn't do any more research. I didn't Google anything. I'm just like, I saw the picture on Netflix. I'm like, what's this fucking crazy guy? So I'm like. My wife was sitting next to me one day and I just clicked play and she's like, what are you watching? I'm like, this new fucking documentary. And then I watched the first episode and I was like, nah, this can't be real.
Yeah. But the first episode you're like, whatever. It's cool. It's a cool story. Interesting. You know, but then the guy killing himself, the gay marriages, the fact that those guys weren't even gay. Like,
I know.
Then he gets married to that guy Dylan, and he tattoos his name Dylan on his neck after 2 months.
It's insane, man.
Like the guy was just weird. But the whole campaign to become president, that speech, I was crying. I'm broke as shit. I'm gay. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy is my fucking hero, man.
I have that meme on my Instagram. I shared it, like that one where he's standing with this fucking. And he's. I just watch it like a couple times a day just to make me laugh.
I keep on getting tagged in there's a meme with him and his 2 husbands getting married in the pink shirts and they're wearing cowboy hats, and I keep on getting tagged saying Cowboys fans. You know, I'm gonna tell my kids these guys are Cowboys fans. I'm like, fuck, Cowboys fans are gonna get ripped for this now. Like, it's fucking classic.
Fuck, man.
I feel bad for the guy a bit. You know, like it sucks. Obviously at the beginning of the show, I was like, okay, I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't. Like, he for sure was doing something sketchy. Like, that guy looks sketchy. When it looks like a rat, chances and smells like a rat, chances are a rat, right? Yeah. So I was like, okay, something's gonna happen. Like, we're gonna find out that he killed animals and stuff, you know, like, and he did. But like, I always said that zoos should never exist. Like, zoos are fucking, it's cruelty to animals, man. You can't put a tiger that's used to 4,000 square fucking square acres of fucking land.
Yeah.
That they need that to put them in a fucking cage 500 feet. Yeah, fuck that, man.
The thing that's most fucked up about these big cats, where I heard somebody talking about, I heard on another podcast, there was an expert or a zoologist that was talking about it. He said that these big cats, they're not meant to be together. When they're in nature, they're very separated. They don't like to be in groups. They like to be like within their, like, you know, their little 2 or 3, but like when you huddle them up all together, they get aggressive because they're anxious to be around like fucking 10 other cats, because
that's what they were saying, is that all those cats you saw, they're all like a year old. They're all cubs.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
when they get older, he's like, you don't need them when you're older. So they probably should kill them all, you know?
Well, that guy, the craziest of all of them, in my opinion, is the what's his fucking name? The guy on the elephants there.
Doc Antle.
Yeah.
He's like the legit crazy guy, you know? Like he doesn't look crazy, but he is crazy. Like you can tell he's weird.
He like legit, like he pretty much said it where he was like, after a while, like we just get rid of them.
Yeah.
Like when I can't use them anymore, like I don't sell all of those. I sell some of them, but most of them he euthanize or they probably shoot a bunch of them because it's probably expensive to euthanize. I've worked in a vet clinic when I was super young, and like that fucking liquid they use to euthanize animals, it's not cheap. And
for sure.
Big cats, they need a lot. Like the bigger the animal, the bigger the amount. And I'm pretty sure they're like Joe Exotic, like he's broke as shit there. He probably just shotgun behind the head. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, I think one of his friends. That's why they didn't interview a lot of the guys. Well, they didn't show them because apparently a lot of them like knew a lot of shit. You know, they knew that they dug holes and stuff, and they buried it. Yeah. But I was reading up, like whenever I get addicted to something, I read up on it right away just to get more information there.
Yeah.
And people, you see like blogs and stuff, people posting like, this is what happened, this is what I found out and stuff. And I even saw one. It's this girl I used to follow when Game of Thrones was on their break between the second last season and the last season. Yeah. It's this girl, and she breaks down videos, like she broke down Game of Thrones like fucking amazing, you know. And so I kept on following her on YouTube, and she made a video about why she thinks Carol Baskin really did kill her husband, and she convinced me.
What's the name? What's her name?
Her name is Gray Matter on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah, she's good. And so what was I gonna say? Yeah, but it's fucked up. So, but that's why. So you're right about that. Is that they're always alone? I started watching like at night sometimes if I get a little baked, I'll watch Our Planet on Netflix. Ever watch that?
Yeah.
Holy fuck, man! That show.
Well, wait. What show?
Our Planet on Netflix.
Planet. No.
Our Planet.
Oh, Our Planet. Yeah, those nature shows and shit like that.
Yeah. But this one's crazy because there's not a lot of talking, but there's this one narrator, and he shows like specific animals in different areas. Anyway, last night I watched the deep sea version, and it fucked me up. But the other day I was watching the grasslands version, and they were talking about tigers in India, and they were showing them hunt and cheetahs and how they hunt and stuff. First of all, when you're baked, it's the best thing ever because the colors and those fucking shows, and the way the camera angles get them, and the way they slow it down, they zoom out, they zoom in. They're so far from these animals, but they look like they're so fucking close.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. I love it.
Did you watch the version of where it's all at night?
No, I didn't see that one yet. No.
My daughter started watching it. She's like, oh, let me watch. She clicked on it, and then we watched like a couple episodes until she got scared there. But it's basically like all like filmed with like night cameras and all that shit, like heat sensors and stuff. It's so amazing. Like sometimes it looks. I don't understand how they get some of those fucking footage. The cameras must be like the zoom and the quality on the images. I'm like, yo, this is insane.
You should watch the one on the deep seas. It's called, or the high seas. It's called. I think it's called on Our Planet.
Yeah.
They basically go all the way to the bottom of the ocean.
For real?
Where there's no light, and they show this one. I don't know what it looks like, but it's transparent. It's a transparent animal down there because that's how it survives. If it gets like frightened or whatever, it becomes transparent, but you just see the outline of the bones, like very thin. It looks like a bee, almost a bee with legs. It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up. There's this one. It looks like it's called a dragonfish, but the teeth are like night vision, not night vision, like you know when you shine the light, the cops when they see cum and blood on
like fluorescent.
Fluorescent, yeah. His teeth were fluorescent.
Wow.
It's called a dragonfish or something. I was looking at it, I'm like, man, thank God I'm high. I would never be able to like appreciate how fucking good this is.
Yeah, there's certain shows that I only watch when I'm super big. Yeah. I like watching hunting shows when I'm like get super big. Meat Eater, you ever watch Meat Eater on Netflix?
Meat Eater, yeah, one of my favorite shows.
I've watched all the episodes, and sometimes I'm like, I'll just rewatch some of the episodes.
Yeah, I'll go back. I like rewatching episodes of that. I like rewatching episodes of what's his name, Anthony Bourdain. Okay, when you go specific cities and stuff. You know?
Yeah, I like that once in a while, but I don't know, man. There's something about that guy that makes me sad.
I know. Me too,
Fuck,
man.
man.
I remember when that happened. And we'll go back to like my Facebook arguments. Is I remember when he killed himself.
Yeah.
It was so sad. I was so sad because like I related to the guy. Like I followed everything he did, and he did jujitsu, and it was like I related to
Yeah.
the person. And I remember my aunt in California. She's she's a vegan, but she didn't say anything bad. It was her friend. Her friend commented on her post saying, "Oh, I'm happy he's dead. I'm happy that he killed himself because he killed a pig on one of his shows. He went to a fucking city in Cambodia that they sacrificed a pig for the village so the entire village can eat. And she's talking about that show. I'm like, you can't compare somebody that's mentally ill, that had a drug addiction, that killed themselves because they felt so low about themselves. You're comparing that to somebody just following the tradition that for 4,000 fucking miles away.
Yeah.
And she had the fucking ball, so I ripped on her. And then my aunt messaged me on the side. She's like, "Oh, you're mean to my friend." I'm like, "Your friend can go fuck herself, man. How can she talk about somebody killing themselves, that they felt so bad about themselves that they killed themselves, and you compare that to him sacrificing an animal to feed an entire village? That's a ritual that they do every fucking week."
Yeah, even if it's not on camera, they're still doing it. Even if you don't see it or hear about it, they're still doing it just because you. That's fucked up, though. I think people that don't connect to someone, like she probably barely knew who he was. She wasn't a fan of him, and they were like, fuck him. Like
just because he eats meat. Fuck.
Yeah. Well, was she a vegan?
For sure she was. Yeah, I think she was. Yeah. Bad vegans. What are you gonna do? There's good vegans and there's bad vegans. I have good vegan friends and I have bad
me too.
Friends, And it's like, it's weird what it's become. It's like I've never identified as a meat eater.
No,
I've never told everybody, exactly. Oh, I'm a carnivore. You know what I mean? Like it's like what the fuck is the point? But now it's like it's become such a thing. It's like such a fad where everybody wants to attach themselves to it. So there's all these annoying people, the CrossFit people, the vegans, the what else are we doing? The Scientologists. Yeah. Like all these people that believe in something and they force it down.
They all want to virtue signal their fucking what they are and who they are all the time. You're going to say CrossFitters, vegans, they're I guess a lot of people make fun of them. It's like, oh, like if you're a CrossFit vegan, all you're going to tell me is how much you're a vegan or how much you're a CrossFitter, right? It's funny because I know a few CrossFitters and they couldn't be they're the nicest. Yeah. Most of them, you know what I mean? I'm sure there's assholes, but like anything, I know people that eat meat, they're assholes. I'm like, I don't call them out because they eat meat. And I'm like, call them out because they're assholes,
But the people that are CrossFitters, that are good CrossFitters, they don't talk about it. The people that are CrossFitters for a year and then stop, and those are the ones that obsess about it for a year and then they give up on it. But the CrossFitters that just work out every day, that just do regular workouts, deadlifts, squats, pull-ups, they do all the regular stuff. They don't call themselves CrossFit Joe on Instagram, Like it's just Joe on Instagram. And that's all it is.
It's part of their life. It's not their whole identities. Because somebody that always searches for like who they are and they attach themselves to CrossFit because it's such a community of people. Like you go to a CrossFit gym, everybody is like together, right? It's a big team, it's a family. And I think a lot of people, they just want to identify and want to be associated with people like that. And once they attach themselves, jiu-jitsu. For the longest time, when I started MMA back in 2004, this was like, I started training MMA when the Ultimate Fighter was starting, like season 1 and season 2. That's when I started training, right?
Season 2 was Rashad Evans' season. No?
That's right. Yeah. That's when I started watching it. I was living in Mississauga, and that's when I started training. And I remember when there was a big boom, everybody was like, "Oh, I do MMA." Like it was all for a long time, like jiu-jitsu and MMA. It's like it was the same thing. It was everybody wanted to tell everybody like, "Oh, I do this, I do that." Yeah. Nowadays, it's like nobody talks about it.
Nobody even. I mean, what thing about jiu-jitsu is that everybody's Instagram is like a Terry BJJ or something like that. But like, I don't feel, and my friends always bust my balls because when I went to California with them, I had a hat that said "In Jiu-Jitsu We Trust," and they always make fun of me. They say like, "Oh, Terry, did anybody ask you about your hat today? Anybody ask you about your T-shirt?" Because I'll wear like a Gracie Baja T-shirt or whatever, and then they'll be like, "You're only wearing it for attention." I go, okay, I get what you're saying because it says Jiu-Jitsu and you want like, maybe it's like a signal to come talk to me about Jiu-Jitsu. if you want to talk to me, talk to me. But I'm not wearing. It's just a T-shirt that I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Am
exactly.
am I ripping on you because you wear some Nike fucking T-shirt? You know what I mean? Like it's not. But I get what they're saying, and I feel like the jiu-jitsu guys are kind of like that CrossFit. You know what I mean? Where it's like they. Some of the guys are just like always like, oh, you got to do jiu-jitsu, you got to do this, you got to do jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is the best. Jiu-jitsu is the best. It is the best, but I'm not gonna shove it down your fucking throat. You know?
Well, I think jiu-jitsu, CrossFit, and a few different things that it's that type of thing where people get so invested so fast because you start doing jiu-jitsu and most people just fall in love and that's all they want to do for the first 6 to 12 months. I'm like, they eat, breathe. That's all they watch. That's all they do is jiu-jitsu, right? And they want to tell everybody, it's like, it changed my life. It changed my life. And that's good. Like, there's a lot of things that changed my life, like throughout everything I've done, MMA, martial arts, all this and that. But I never identified to people that I don't really know in that same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's why I use social media to like portray like the things I like and the things that I associate it with. But I never try to like push it on people, you know. If they ask me my opinion, I'll be like, "Yo, I think you should try this. I think you should try that." But, you know,
everybody always says like, well, "What's the best jiu-jitsu school in Montreal?" Like, and I can't give an answer because it all depends on what you want to do, right? I'll send somebody to if somebody says, "Oh, I just want to like train and get in shape or whatever," I'll send them. If they live downtown, I'll send them to 10th Planet. You know, like it all depends on what you want to do. For the most part, people end up going to Gracie Barra because it has a name, and that's good for me. But at the end of the day, I'll tell them just go the closest place to your house. Like whatever the closest place is, just go there because you never want to have the excuse of, oh, it's too far, I'm too lazy not to go. And that's basically what it comes down to.
Well, at a certain point, is like any jiu-jitsu is better than no jiu-jitsu, right?
Any training is better than no training. Even if
exactly.
you can't afford a gym, gym's too expensive. It's not too expensive. $10 a month at EconoFit. You tell me you can't spend $10 a month. $10 a month. I spend $50 a month at Gold's Gym, like you do probably.
Yeah.
So I think it's 45, and it's because I know I'm going to work out and I know that I want to pay that price. If I can't afford that price, there's an option right across the street for $10 a month. And people don't $100 a year sometimes, some places.
Econo Fitness, you could they have specials $99 for a year sometimes. I'm like,
it's crazy.
You can't say it's a money thing. Like $10 a month, $10 a month to work out. You just, whatever you do, you could save $10 in 30 days. Like it's, unless you have fucking 8 kids and you're a single parent, then okay, I understand. But
everybody always says they don't have time to do something.
Look, I tell people all the time, I'm like, you don't want to go to the gym? Fine. Fucking do squats at home. Just do squats at home. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. If you can't. I did 100 squats and 50 push-ups this morning, and it took me 4 minutes. But I do them fast because I'm healthy. But somebody normal, 10 minutes. My wife, 10, 15 to do 100 squats. If you break them down, like, even if you just do 50, even if you just do 25, you got to start somewhere. Like I have a friend right now that she emailed me, she texted me, she's like, look, I'm at home. She's like, I will see you all the time. I said, she committed herself to do 100 squats and 20 push-ups. And I'm like, that's fantastic. I said, that's great. And she, takes her 5-10 minutes,
It's all about time. And I think, I was watching this thing. I posted on Facebook. It was like a guy that was questioning people at a Trump rally. And he's like, did you read the transcript about him colluding with Ukraine? And he goes, no, I don't have time to read that stuff. He's like, how long have you been here for? He's like, I got here early in the morning. He goes, what time is that? He goes, 8. So he's like, so you've been here for 8 hours? He's like, yeah. He's like, you don't have any time to do anything.
Who was the guy though?
The guy, he worked for the Daily Show, so I don't know what his name is, but he's a funny guy. He's a tall white guy. I posted it on my Facebook. Go check it out. It's a really funny clip.
Okay,
he's just basically like using people like Trumpers. He's using their defense on Trump against him for other people. Like this one girl, she's like, no, Barack Obama's mom can't be a witness to his birth because she's biased. And he's like, okay, but what about Trump? Would you trust his parents? And she's like, oh yeah, I trust his parents. And she's like. And he's like, why? So she keeps on using it. Like he keeps on using that stuff against him. And I was crying, man. I was crying.
I got to check it out.
Yeah. Did you see the Jon Jones thing?
Yeah, let's get into that shit. I wrote some things down that I want to talk to you about because I'm like, you know what? I want to talk about sports and I want to fucking talk to somebody about it. There's a few things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the NFL draft, but I want to talk about Jon Jones first. Like, how many times is it now? Like, let's be serious.
4. This is 4 times I think he's been arrested. 3 times he's been arrested. He got arrested for running the pregnant girl over.
Yes.
This time.
That was that's the time when he left the scene, right?
Yeah, he came back to get his money, and then he went back.
Yeah.
And then there was another time where he had a DUI, where he told a cop off.
And then there was the time he crashed his Bentley, right?
That was the time, yeah.
Oh,
so I think it's 3 times, yeah.
So this is his third. Like, I didn't read up much into it, but like, do you think at this point there's a chance that he might do jail time for this shit?
Oh, I think he has to. I think if he gets away with it again, it's all in the same state also. Like, if he gets away with it again, like, what are we saying? You know what I mean? There's guys.
This is his third strike, though. Like, isn't there a law in America that's like third strike, like something happens?
There's a law in the States. I don't know. It depends on what state you're in. If there's law in the state where 2 DUIs, you have to have a breathalyzer to start your car. He doesn't have.
This is his third one.
Right? Did you see the video? On Hot Sauce Sports, we posted it. It's like the cop pulling him over. It's like 50 minutes long, but you should watch it. He's mumbling his words. He can't talk. He's standing on one leg, but he's like hobbling over. You know, professional athlete standing on one leg, you should be able to do it, right? Especially a guy like that.
Did he shoot? I read that the report, or I didn't do much reading. I heard a few things. Is that the cops were responding to some gunshots.
Yeah, apparently he shot his gun.
So he not only is he drinking and driving, but he's discharging his weapon and then trying to hide it. You know?
He thinks he's untouchable. He thinks that rules don't apply to him, and he's so cocky. And it always happens after a fight. Always. It's like every time the fight ends, like a couple weeks later, something's gonna happen with him, and it's like it's just too much that he needs to seek help. I think he has to step away from his Bible for a bit, you know, even though I don't believe him for a half a second that he's as religious as he says he is, and he needs to step away from his Bible and look into himself. Because I like the Jon Jones that we saw recently. I like the Jon Jones that was an asshole, that wasn't trying to like preach and act like he was a goody two shoes. I love that. I like that guy. I don't like the one that's fake. You know, I like the one that's real. And this is the real Jon Jones. So I like it, but I don't respect the guy. I mean, for what he's done, he just clearly doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. You know, and it just shows that. It shows everything he does. Or he's battling some crazy fucking demons and he doesn't know how to get rid of them.
I never used to sympathize with him the first or the second time. I wouldn't say I was a Jon Jones hater. I respect him as a martial artist. I think he's probably the GOAT when it comes to mixed martial arts, if not like top 2, top 3.
He's the best. He's the best.
Yeah. I mean, the things he's done and at a young age and been able to do for so long. But this time around, like, my first instinct, and trust me, like, I want to hate on this fucking guy. I really do, because I'm like, and a part of me says, like, you're wasting all these fucking opportunities. You have an opportunity to go down as the greatest mixed martial arts artist ever to ever do it, with like in the octagon. But you also have an opportunity to set an example for fucking people around you and people to respect you, or people to inspire. Like, you have and he chooses to completely ignore that and to just do his own bullshit. And when it happened last week, I'm like you, the first thing I thought was like, oh man, not again, this fucking guy. But then I'm like, to a certain extent, like you said, when you said the demons, like he did at this point, it's not just like, oh, I'm cocky and get away with something. I think there's definitely demons he's battling, and I think he puts on. I kind of have to sympathize, because I have my own demons, although they're obviously, I don't go out in my fucking car and shoot my guns. I don't have guns, number one. But I'm not self-destructive like he is right now. But there's a part of me now that wants to kind of sympathize, because I'm like, there's no way, third time now. And let's not forget all the other shit he's done too, with the steroids and everything else, right? It's like, man, like it's like he's self-sabotaging himself in some sort of crazy way, because I think he doesn't, I don't know, man. Like, there's a part of me that, like I said, I want to sympathize with him, but there's another part of me that just wants to go fuck this guy. Like, enough's enough. Like,
I'm the same exact way. I'm the same exact way. But I can't ignore what he's done and the shit that he's like. He ran over a pregnant woman and ran away, but which was the smart thing to do, only because if you run away, if you're drunk and you hit somebody,
yeah,
leave your car, go to the police station the next day. Check yourself in and turn yourself in.
Yeah.
So your hit and run is gone, but they can't prove that you were wasted, so you don't get a DUI.
Yeah.
I just gave everybody a secret here.
Yeah. I think, but I think to a certain point, like, there's such a selfish part of that when it happened that time. It was just like, I think the fact that the woman was pregnant and she got injured, and that he left the scene, I think a lot of people gave up on him right then and there, and were never willing to give him any other sort of chance. And he gained a lot of haters. But it's that whole, like, I go back to thinking, like, imagine he was 24 years old when he became champion, right?
23, yeah.
23. Do you remember how you were at 23 years old?
Fuck, I was a shitty fucking kid. 23 years old. I was working for no money at a radio station. Broke as shit.
Broke as shit. Just like Joe Exotic.
Just like my boy Joe Exotic. I was broke as shit working for no money at a radio station with our buddy John. And man, I was fresh into a 1-year relationship, and I knew what I wanted to do, but I had no idea how to do it. Like, I was lost basically for a full year.
Dude, 23 was the prime of my life, like prime. Dude, every night from Wednesday to Sunday, go out every night. I was working I was working sales in a mall for Sony. I would sell electronics, and I would 2 or 3 times a week, I would come in and work so hungover. So many times my boss would send me home. He's like, dude, you smell like booze. You can't talk to clients like that. Like, just go home, you know? I was lucky my boss loved me. But I was a mess. Like you say, you knew what you wanted to do. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And it was only like a couple of years later, like a year and a half later, where I just said, fuck it. I packed everything I owned into my pickup truck and I moved to Toronto. But like, man, I could only imagine if I became world champion at anything remotely crazy like fucking cage fighting when I was 23 years old, and then started getting all the money and all the attention and all. I mean, it's like Mike Tyson, right? Remember when he won the fucking championship at 20, and then it was like tigers and Lamborghinis?
Yeah, that's what I was going to compare him to Mike Tyson's downfall, you know, and I even put it in my Facebook post. It's comparable to what Mike Tyson did. He's like self-sabotaging. He's untouchable. Everybody used to compare Conor McGregor to Mike Tyson because of the money and stuff.
Yeah.
When I look at how good Jon Jones is, Mike Tyson was that guy back then. Jon Jones hasn't smelled defeat yet because he hasn't been in jail. You know what I mean? If he has to go to jail and he has to come out, he won't be the same guy. He's not going to be the guy that's going to beat you. He barely beat Dominic Reyes, you know? So he's at the tail end of his career, and maybe he's starting to realize that he's not as good as he actually is anymore anyway.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know how to channel that. So he's a recluse, I think. I think that he doesn't know where he's going. And you identify as something for, he's 33 now. You identify somebody as something for 10, 12 years, and all of a sudden that's gone, you know? And it's, how do you deal with that? It's like hockey players and football players that go into depression when they retire. They spend all their money. They lose all, like, and NFL players retire at 30 years old. What do you do for the next 40 years? You know?
Yeah.
And your identity is gone. You're not a football player anymore. You're an ex-football player. And what are you going to identify as? And I think that's where people lose it. That's exactly where athletes lose it, because their shelf life is so small. You know, it's not like you can. It's not like he's going to be a coach. You know, guys that are that good never become coaches.
No. And he doesn't have the personality to want to help anybody. I don't think he has it in him. You know what I mean? When you say that identity, I don't know if I spoke to you about it when you were on the podcast last time, but yeah. I definitely spoke about it on one of the episodes where it was the same thing for me. Like, I don't want to compare myself obviously to Jon Jones, but I was just a few months ago at a point in my life where I was like the 39 years old. I'm a professional wrestler, and right now the only identity that I could really say I have is one of a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
And it was scary that I was. Any professional wrestler will tell you this: they're one bump away from being done. You're one bad bump away, one injury away from your career being completely over. And if being a professional wrestler was your only identity at that moment, you lose that. Most people will go into will become depressed, or at least they'll become lost to a point where they'll be like, well, I have nothing to identify with anymore. So that's why now I'm like trying to build other avenue and, go in different things and do podcasting and all that shit. But I can only imagine because being a championship caliber mixed martial artist like Jon Jones, like you have to eat, breathe, and do nothing but mixed martial arts. Like you can't be like a movie star or a TV star or an ambassador for a brand. You have to be focused 100% of your energy on that. And a lot of these fighters, they stay in the game way too long simply because they have nothing else. And they know that the day it's finished, they're like, what am I going to do with my life? And that they don't have the tools to be able to deal with that type of like not having something to do or strive for. They're alpha males.
How many guys come out of retirement? Look at Chuck Liddell. He keeps on coming back. Like, go fuck yourself.
He can barely speak anymore. It's sad.
Even Tito.
Yeah.
Like, give it up. Give it up, Tito.
Fuck, man. Anyway, I look, at the end of the day with this whole Jon Jones thing, I hope that number one thing, I hope that the UFC does the right thing, and you can't keep a guy like that as your champion.
I think they're gonna release him.
They have to, right? You can't.
I think they have. They might have released him. I didn't hear anything, but
I haven't read about it. But yeah, but I mean, any other sport, you have a guy like that. Look at Antonio Brown. He hasn't done anything to that extent. He's just basically being an asshole. But everybody, there's not many teams willing to sign him anymore, because they just don't want to deal with that headache. Yeah. Some will, some would, obviously. But if you're Dana White and WME and you're trying to build this big UFC brand, you can't have the guy that's considered the GOAT to just go out there and be a fuck up. I'm sorry, you just can't.
They just said they're reviewing additional information, the UFC. But if this was anybody else, if this was let's say a higher level guy who didn't win a championship. Let's say it's a guy like Cody Garbrandt now, we'll say.
Yeah.
If he fucks up, they would release him.
Because they're like, he's no use to us. Number one, we don't use him as an ambassador for our company, so he'd be like, yeah, dude, I can't have you on my roster. Yeah. It's like Jon Jones is one of they're so they're starved for stars right now because Conor doesn't fight every 6 months like he used to. And you don't have GSP anymore. You don't have guys that used to bring you so much money. You have Jon Jones. Who else, right? They
have a roster of 500 fighters, but how many of those guys are moneymakers,
How many guys can you put in a main event that are going to sell millions of pay-per-view buys?
That's it, exactly.
What? You got Conor, Jon Jones, and even Asad, what's his face there? The middleweight champ. Asad, I don't even think he could. He's not at that level yet,
He's pretty up there because he has the whole New Zealand, Australia side.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
And where GSP was such a draw because he was the Canadian guy and he had all of Canada. Khabib is a big draw.
Khabib is a huge draw, yeah.
If you look at guys, Daniel Cormier is a pretty decent draw.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the 5 to 8 that are really good. The rest are all pretty much equal, I think Amanda Nunes or even Joanna is probably a big draw.
Joanna Jędrzejczyk probably, yeah.
Now this girl Weili Zhang is a huge draw, especially from China.
Yeah.
So but the thing is, they realize that they're not going to get a Conor McGregor all the time, right? So they've expanded their roster, and now they just put fights on all the time, and they're doing very well. I don't know how they're doing now with the whole social distancing and the quarantines and stuff, but for the most part, I think they're doing pretty well. I think it's a mistake for them to put the fight on right now, Tony Ferguson and Khabib. But they're so scared that something's gonna happen that we're not gonna be able to put this fight on, that they're like, fuck it, we're gonna put it on UFC Fight Pass and that's it, and then on to the next.
I think that if this wasn't the fourth time that they would have canceled this fight, like if they would have been the night, like all the past wouldn't have happened, they would have been like, listen, like we're gonna cancel this fight and we'll push it forward. But because it's already been canceled 3 times and everybody wants to see this fight, so let's move into UFC 249. Let's start talking about that. Like, I've been reading that they're putting together. So basically, there's a lot of the fighters that were, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you know a little bit more about this.
Yeah.
They had a card made, but then I think a lot of fighters have decided not to be on the card. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So now they're trying to put, like, because I heard Dana said this, they're trying to put the biggest, baddest card ever put together in MMA, in UFC history.
Yeah, not even close.
No, I don't. I think it's impossible, but
it's a decent card. So it's a good pay-per-view card. I will say that.
Yeah.
So there's Khabib, Tony, obviously. There's Jessica Andrade. She's the champion. She's fighting Rose. Huge.
That's right.
Then you have Islam Makhachev. He's Khabib's cousin. He's fighting Alex Hernandez, who lost to Cerrone recently, but he was like on a crazy win streak, and he's like he's a really good fighter. Like he's an up and comer. He's like 24 years old. And then you have Calvin Kattar and Jeremy Stevens, which is like a brawler fight. Whoever is going to come out of that one alive is basically going to win. And it's a decent card. It's a good card. I'd say I'd give it like a 7.5 on 10. But that 7.5 is because of Khabib and Tony, and we don't know how that fight's gonna happen. Like, what's gonna happen in that fight? Is Khabib gonna eat tiramisu? Is Tony gonna blow out his fucking ACL? You know what I mean? Like, is Khabib gonna make weight? We don't know.
It's 2 weeks out, right now?
I think it's April 18th.
So 3 weeks out.
Yeah, April 18th.
I mean, Rose versus Andrade. This is the rematch, right?
It is the rematch, but she beat Rose for the title. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
and
she lost it to Weili Zhang.
So if everything goes according to plan, which let's hope it does, I don't even. Number one, do we even know where this card is going to take place?
They're saying in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, or they might do it in Las Vegas at a closed venue.
I saw odds yesterday of where it was, and Florida was number 1, and Dubai was number 2, I think.
They want to do it where Dana White does his Contender Series. They want to do it in that thing. It's called I don't even know what it's called. It's like a small venue. There's probably like 800 seats, but they won't have anybody in there. They're just gonna have the cameras and UFC staff there. So it's a good idea, but I just think that 3 weeks from now, everybody can have a different perspective on what the coronavirus is. 3 weeks from now, a lot can happen. We can see numbers falling, so people will be like, okay, they're more comfortable to start going in public places. Like a lot of things can happen, but it can also get so bad that we're gonna have to fucking get rid of this fight, and not let it happen at all. But I don't see them canceling the fight. Even Dana White, I think he had like an interview where he's like, fuck everybody that wants me to cancel this fight. Well,
you know what? At the end of the day, it's a gamble. I think that he's been in this for so long, and they've had, I mean, back in the day, like even not just back in the day, like UFC 20 or even up to that point, like they were still having issues running in certain states, and a lot of places didn't allow it and stuff. And they've always been like steadfast and be like, fuck these guys. We're just going to fight and we'll figure it out. We'll move the venue at last minute the night before. Who gives a shit? And, I think that if this goes according to plan and everything goes well and nobody gets hurt and nobody gets sick, they'll be down the road. They'll be like, UFC will be seen as they stayed the course for as much as possible, and they still made money. They still put on fights. They still, as much as possible anyway. So I don't know.
I think that, like, look at you and I right now.
Yeah.
We both have like a local podcast. We're trying to do good things, and we're not stopping, right? Like, even like I've wrote a couple articles today where we're going to be releasing them as we go.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we're not stopping, right? So they don't stop either. And where do they make their money? They put on events. They're an event. If they can, they're not going to have 2,000 people in a place together, right? They're going to have a couple hundred people and the staff, and the coaches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't see it being that much of a problem. And the UFC has always been so good at organizing, and everything is done properly, and they take care of their fighters. And it's like, I see as a human, I see why people are complaining that they're still putting on the fight. But if I think about it logically, these guys, the only reason why they shouldn't put on the fight is if the fighters are not comfortable training. If the fighters can say that, oh, I don't want to train anymore because I don't want my partner, if he has it, to get me sick, and vice versa, whatever, then I understand that. But the UFC should be like, if you guys are healthy, let's fucking put this fight on. It's been 4 years in the making. Let's fucking just do it, get it over with, and then the winner fights Connor or whoever it is for the belt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I see why they're trying to do it. They're trying to not delay anything, because in a month, I mean, I'm optimistic. In a month, all this is going to be pretty much over with. You know, I think by May 1st, everything's going to start reopening. Businesses are going to start letting their employees come back. Like fields and arenas, they're all going to start being open. Concerts are going to start coming back slowly. And I think as of May 1st, that's going to happen. So UFC's like, if they see it the same way, why not just put on this event privately, small amount of people, maybe 100, 200 people with staff and coaches, and just let it go, and people can watch it at home, from home. I don't see a problem with it. But the only thing is, like I said, it's the fighters. If the fighters don't feel comfortable training, if they're not training every day as if this is a fucking, like, this is the real fight, then they shouldn't do it at all.
Who do you think wins? Ferguson or Khabib?
It's tough, because how can you say Khabib isn't going to be able to take him down and ground and pound him? But Tony Ferguson's nasty off his back. He hasn't lost in like 8 years. He's weird, like so awkward that nobody's ever seen a style like him before. I would have to, if I put my money down, I'd have to put it on Ferguson. I really would.
Really?
Yeah, I think that he's always in shape. Nothing against Khabib. I think he's always in shape. I don't think Khabib has ever fought anybody like him. He's not like as disrespectful as Conor McGregor is. He's just weird. You know, Conor McGregor got into Khabib's head, and Khabib's like, fuck this guy. He's insulting my family, everything. I'm going to kill him. Where Tony Ferguson is like just weird, and Khabib doesn't know how to like manage that, you know? Like, how can he figure that out? And I think that's where it is.
I, like you, have a hard time. At this point, you have a guy like Khabib. You're like, you can't bet against him. It's like, what's his record? 24-0, right?
28-0.
28-0, okay. Like, he's undefeated. He's pretty much manhandled most of his opponents. And you're like, okay, like, you can't, it's hard to, on paper, put your money on somebody else. But I'm like you. Like, I have this hunch that Tony Ferguson is just a different animal. He's this thing that's a fighter, but he's so unconventional that you just have no idea where he's gonna come, how he's gonna come at you, and what he has in it, like how he's gonna like. And plus, Khabib's strength is ground and pound, get on top of you, get you down. Like Tony Ferguson, his guard, like you've mentioned, is like that guy will cut you up with his elbows from the guard. Like, he's not even looking to choke you out at first. He's looking to, he can inflict damage, like severe damage, and he's done it more than once. Where like I could easily see this end on a cut or like something like that. Like, this is not out of the question. You know what I mean?
That would be awful if that happens. But I've never seen him get cut though. I don't know if he's been cut. Yeah. But like if Khabib shoots, okay, and he gets Tony on his back. First of all, Tony on his back is probably the best thing I've ever seen in MMA.
Yeah.
He has those nasty darces because he's got. Have you ever seen the size of his hands?
It's insane.
They're huge, which means
long.
Dick is probably huge too. It just no, but for real. And his hands are huge, and his arms are so fucking long, and he has this crazy darce choke from the guard that I think could catch Khabib. But Khabib is also, he's a fucking brick, man. Like, he's built like a fucking brick house. You know what I mean? So it's super tough. But I think Tony Ferguson is like, I'll put my money on him. Yeah, for sure. I like his style. I like the contrast that he brings against Khabib. Khabib was able to throw wild punches against Conor, and then to take him down, to set up the takedown. Where we can't forget that Tony Ferguson was an All-American wrestler too. You know, so
Of course.
there's no problems there. And but there's a problem for Khabib if he's on top of somebody that knows how to submit from the guard. And I think that's where the problem lies, right there.
Look, at the end of the day, it's the fight. It's the most anticipated fight in a long, long time because it's been canceled 3 times. And the only thing that I hope doesn't happen is that we don't get the guys. I hope that just both these guys are 100%. Well, not 100% physically, but like with this whole corona and with the fact that there's not going to be any audience and that it's in special circumstances.
Did you watch the last one with no audience?
No, I did. Did I?
Damian Maia Burns. The main event was I watched it.
I don't think I did.
I just watched it. Oh, it was the Kevin Lee Barbosa.
Oh, I saw the highlights, but yeah, I didn't see it. There was no fight. Yeah,
no fans. It was so weird because you hear the coaches.
It's like the Ultimate Fighter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
But it was cool. It was cool to watch. And then when they win, like they yell, you actually hear what they're saying. Like it's pretty fucking. It's cool.
Yeah.
I like the experience, but obviously it takes away for the fighters. I think the fighters want the fans to be there. You know, it changes it.
Yeah. Anyway, I just hope that everything goes according to plan and nobody. I just hope nobody gets put in danger to a point where, you know, they're going to have to make a decision like maybe a week out to say, just fuck it, we're going to cancel. Because then you know.
The one thing I'm scared of, though, for Tony is that I don't think Khabib is a guy who's going to tap, right? So if Tony keeps on going for submissions, locks them in, and then Khabib explodes out of them, I don't think judges would give Tony like the advantage there. Judges don't give advantages for attempted submissions.
No, you're right.
Where they should. You know what I mean? If he locks in an armbar and then just does one explosive movement and knocks out of the armbar, why is that an advantage to Khabib? It should be an advantage to Tony. And I think that a lot of judges don't see it that way, especially if they do it in New York. And that's what I'm scared of.
And plus, number one, we don't know where it is, and we don't know what judges are going to be available, and what refs are going to be available, and all that shit. So
yeah.
Anyway, couple other things I've been meaning to talk to somebody about. Cam Newton. What the fuck?
He's a beast, huh?
He's a beast. He looks like he wants to. He looks like, look, he obviously is putting it out there. He wants people to know that he means business and that he's ready to go. But with this whole coronavirus thing and you're not able to get a physical out of this guy, like, I don't blame teams that are not willing to take a chance on this guy right now. Like, I don't.
The guy was the MVP not too long ago.
3 years ago? No? Is it?
No, probably 4 or 5 years when they went to the Super Bowl.
2016, no?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 4 years ago. So, if I were a team, I would take a chance on him. If I were a team like, maybe not Florida. Florida's on a rebuild. Maybe Jacksonville. Maybe Pittsburgh. You know, like, because Roethlisberger, we don't know how long he's gonna have.
Yeah.
Like teams like that, you know, like that play that style. So Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, not Houston.
So you'd bring him in as more of a backup?
No, as a starter.
As a starter, right?
I think the only way I think he comes into Pittsburgh and takes over as a starter, earns the position as a starter, and Roethlisberger ends up retiring. What the fuck is that? And Roethlisberger ends up retiring. I think that's what I was thinking. But I don't see why they would pay him the amount of money he's asking for to be a backup. That's the only thing.
Like, for me, like a team like the Chargers, who they have Tyrod Taylor?
Yeah, no, but he's not a starter anymore, right? I don't think they do have him as a backup. Yeah, but I wouldn't. Yeah, Cam Newton, why not? I mean, it's no. They who did they sign? I feel like they signed somebody. No, but Chargers would be a good option too. Maybe he fucking goes to Oakland, fights for the job over there. There's 3 quarterbacks there already. I don't know.
They signed somebody, no?
They signed Mariota.
Oh, yeah.
They have Carr, Mariota there. So Carr making $100 million, Mariota making whatever he's making. So I don't see him going there. maybe Washington. It's so hard because they drafted a quarterback in the first round last year. There's not many options because there's like 5 quarterbacks that are going to go in the first round this year. So why waste money on an older guy when you can get a young guy and groom him? You know. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But I think he might have to accept a backup role in the meantime. But I don't know. Start out going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a good option for him, I think.
How about the draft? Do you think where do you think Tua is going to land?
I think he's gonna end up going to Miami, which is 5th, which I think is a mistake for Miami. I think if Tua goes into a situation where he's gonna be forced as the starting quarterback right away, I think it's a mistake. He's way too injured all the time.
Yeah.
He's built. He's short. He's a short frame. He's a smaller guy. Kyler Murray is, except thicker. You know.
Yeah.
He's got a rocket of an arm, but he's always getting injured. And I think that if you bring him into a team without an offensive lineman, they just traded their left tackle. If they bring him into Miami and they start him right away, I think they'll ruin him. I really think they'll ruin him.
I feel like he needs to go to a situation where, I don't want to say Pittsburgh, obviously, but it's a place like that where you get a veteran quarterback that's a championship caliber quarterback, but that's nearing the end of his career, and where you could groom this fucking guy and just, because I think you're right. I think he's injury prone, and I think that if he's asked to play 16 fucking games right off the bat, or even 12 I think you're asking a lot from a young guy that there's a learning curve and everything. I just coming back. Look, he looked good on the video I saw. He could cut, he could do whatever, he could move, but that's such a short and such a small amount of data that you have to collect. Like dude, he's definitely a franchise quarterback in my opinion, but like you have to take your time and you have to be patient with him. Like
kind of like what the Giants did with I'm drawing a blank. Daniel
Jones. Yeah.
Kind of what they did with him. He kind of like, I think it was week 4, he ended up stepping in as a quarterback. You know, like give him time, learn the offense. If it's not working out and you need to make a change, make the change. But for the most part, I think you give him a full year to learn the offense, learn how to play in the NFL a bit, get hit a few times, put him in circumstances like situational plays, let him use his feet, you know, just to get used to the speed. Because when you're playing in Alabama, you're playing with the 5, if not the best, the second best offensive lineman in the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're protected. And he still had to move around a lot because the plays don't develop for him as quick. So I think he was kind of, you never see, how many quarterbacks do you see come out of Alabama that are good? Alabama is known for linebackers, safeties, offensive linemen, defensive linemen too, obviously.
Yeah.
They're never known for receivers. They've had a couple. They had, what's his name? Mari Cooper. You know, they've had a couple, but they haven't had like the star receivers. Quarterbacks, never. Like, I can't think of one. I actually can't. AJ McCarron is the best one I can think of, and he started for a bit for Cincinnati, but for the most part, quarterbacks aren't coming out of Alabama.
You're right.
So when I look at Tua, I think, okay, what did he learn in his offense over there? Did he learn how to play a pro-style offense? And I don't know. I'm not an expert either. I'm not a scout. I don't know these things. I've played and watched football my entire life, so I know a little bit. But I can say is that they should give him time to groom and learn what it is to be a pro quarterback, because he hasn't learned that yet.
Who's backup behind Brady in Tampa Bay? Do you know?
Right now it's Winston, Jameis Winston.
It's true, huh? But obviously they're going to look to get rid of him.
Well, I mean, everybody's saying, Brady's going to do so much better now that Winston's gone. Why? Because Winston threw 30 touchdowns and 5,000 yards last year. Winston has a better arm than Brady does.
Yeah.
He makes worse decisions than Brady does. Winston is able to move around a bit. Brady cannot. The running game that he has is similar to what he had in the Patriots. His receivers, I think he's a plus of receivers. He has Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But is he going to be protected? Maybe. I just don't see the Tom Brady throwing 5,000 yards and 35 touchdowns. I don't see him throwing 30 interceptions like Jameis Winston did last year.
Yeah.
So which puts them higher, obviously, because what it does is it keeps the ball on offense, and you're not going to get scored on defense. And at the end of the day, is it going to put them into the playoffs? I think I see them more of like a 10-6 in the playoffs.
So like a wild card, right?
Yeah, as long as they get in, I think that's where they just need to get in. And I think it's realistic for them to get in. It's just that the NFC is so tough. So tough. It's a lot easier than the AFC. And people don't realize that. Even in their division, they have New Orleans and Atlanta. Atlanta at any point can become the Atlanta that lost in the Super Bowl. But New Orleans is always going to win that division, you know? And then you have Carolina. Who's going to be the starting quarterback Carolina? Teddy Bridgewater? I guess. So you kind of scratch them off. So the best you can finish second or third in that division. And then that means you're working for a wild card spot against the Cowboys, Eagles, then you have Lions, Packers, Vikings on the other side, and then you have the Seattle division: Seattle, Arizona, LA, and Seattle, Arizona, and San Francisco. So it's gonna be super tough to crack a wild card spot. So I don't know how it's gonna work out for them, but I can see them like getting eliminated the last game of the season this year, like needing to win to get in, and they lose. I see that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think. Are you one of the guys that think that you'll see Belichick in the Super Bowl before you see Brady again? Or would you ever see Brady?
Brady's never going to a Super Bowl again.
No, huh?
Never. He's never bringing Tampa Bay to a Super Bowl. As good as that team is, I mean, I hope, because I've always liked Brady. I mean, we all grew up watching him, right?
Yeah, of course.
I was 13. I remember this first Super Bowl I was watching in my friend's basement against Carolina. Jake Delhomme playing for Carolina. And and I remember, I grew up watching Tom Brady, and I would love to see him play at 42 years old in the Super Bowl, but it's just not in the cards. Not in the NFC. He should have stayed in the AFC. If he went to the Colts, example, he probably would have had a better chance to make Super Bowl with the Colts.
Yeah, because all the teams you named there, just the Seattles and the fucking Cowboys and the Eagles, it's all teams that were battling for a wild card last year, right?
Exactly.
Now you're adding Tampa Bay into the mix, but that, a lot of those teams either stayed the same or got stronger. I don't know. It's at the end of the day, I didn't believe he was ever going to come back to New England, but I think you're right. I think if he had stayed in the AFC, I think he had a better chance at his last couple of years in his career to at least be in the playoff for the next couple of years, at least get that chance, Last thing I want to ask you, Joe Burrow, you think he's a star in the making?
I do. I don't think we're getting the Brady comparisons. The thing about Brady is that he was drafted in the 6th, 7th round, where Burrows is going to get drafted in first overall probably. Mm-hmm. So I don't see that comparison. You can't compare somebody that came up with different circumstances, And
plus, when you're drafted 199th, you have that chip on your shoulder and you play a different way, right?
He knew he had to wait for his time, And I think Joe Burrows will be like a Cam Newton style success. He might make a Super Bowl. He might win
early in his career, maybe.
Yeah, it might he win an MVP, because he's good enough for that. Mm-hmm. But back to my previous example, the best quarterback I've seen come out of LSU before him was Jamarcus Russell. And
wow.
If you look at the offensive linemen that LSU had this year, man, probably the biggest humans you ever seen in your life, So he was protected also, and he did super well. And I'm a fan, Joe Burrows. I just don't think that he's not this generational talent that we all made him seem, just because he got hot at the right moment. So there was a bunch of memes made of him and stuff. I really think that those two guys are they're not even the best quarterbacks in the draft. To me, the best quarterback in the draft is Justin Herbert coming out of Oregon. I think he's legit the best pro guy ready to play right now. He's going to be a first-round pick to I don't know who, and he can play right away, and he'll do fine.
Why is that?
He was never in the media. He's never the limelight. He played in Oregon. They play a different style of offense. He has a crazy gunslinger of an arm. He reminds me a lot of how Why am I drawing a blank now? See, quarantine's making me forget names. The quarterback for the Jets.
Sanchez?
No. The current quarterback. Fuck.
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, fuck. The white boy.
Yeah. he had mono this year. Anyway, whatever.
I want to say Stafford, but that's not.
Barkley? 1 second. Jets QB. Darnold. Woo!
Yeah.
Sam Darnold. Okay. He reminds me a bit of Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold's going to be a great quarterback in this league. I just think that also Joe Burrow's getting drafted first overall means he's going to be going to Cincinnati unless they trade. Rumors are that they're trying to trade the pick, but they want a lot for it. So I don't think people are going to give up that much for it. And if people aren't giving up what the Bengals are asking, it shows that Joe Burrows might just be a hype machine. And that's what I'm worried about. Because he's going to Cincinnati too. Cincinnati is a failing organization every year, no matter what.
They're not committed to winning. They're just committed to running a business.
That's it. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like they're Ottawa Senators, basically, and it sucks because they do have a very loyal fan base. Worst uniforms in sports history. Worst. But they do have a loyal fan base. And I think if he goes there, he might be able to rejuvenate something. The only person that was ever able to do that before was for Cincinnati was Boomer Esiason when they lost to the Niners. You know what I mean? Like in the 94, it's just I don't think it's gonna happen for them. I don't think if he goes there, he'll have a decent career, but not the career everybody thinks he's gonna have. He's not Brady, not even close.
I don't know about this, but much about this, but what's the contract they signed? So say Joe Burrow gets drafted by the Bengals, he plays next year. He's signed for 2 or 3 years.
I think it's a 3-year entry-level contract. Depending on where you're drafted, the money you can make is maximized. So you're not. So the NFL, the owners asked for that. So the owners asked if they can cap rookies, and they did. Obviously, they're still making. He's probably still going to make like $15 million a year.
Yeah.
But it's a 3-year contract. Yeah.
So in 3 years, there's a possibility that he just said, "Okay, I've given my 3 years. Now I could go play somewhere else," or is it restricted?
I think when it comes to that, I think they have an RFA, but it's not the same like in the NHL. In the NHL, I think it's a little different than the way they do it in the NFL. I'm not too sure about what the process is.
They can do the franchise tag, right? Which would
they tag.
The
Cowboys tagged Dak this year, but I wouldn't tag Burrows though, because you're probably gonna end up paying him more than what he's actually worth. Because the tag, what it does is it gives you the average of the top 5 salaries at your position, and that might be more than what he's going to be worth at that time, because the average is probably going to be like 30 million at that time. So they're going to want 20 million, and which I think is a good number for him at that time. Well, we don't know what's going to happen. For all I know, he can throw 40 touchdowns a year and be the next Pat Mahomes, but we don't know that. And Pat Mahomes is, I said it actually that draft. I said Pat Mahomes is going to be the best quarterback in this draft, and he ended up being it, because it's always the guy that the media doesn't love. It's always the guy that likes. He's good too. Look at him. But let's focus on these 2 guys first. Like Vince Young and what was the quarterback?
Joe Manziel?
No, that wasn't the same year. It was Vince Young and the quarterback at a USC, the lefty. Matt Leinart. Okay? Those are
okay, yeah.
You know who else got drafted that year?
Who?
Fuck, I'm wrong on this one. I was going to say Aaron Rodgers. 1 second. Aaron Rodgers' draft class. I remember when he dropped to like...
Hey, he got drafted like 12th, no? 11th?
Oh, I think later than that.
19th?
Later than that. 2005. Alex Smith was the first round. Was the first overall.
That's right.
Then you had... Then he dropped all the way to 24th. So Alex Smith got drafted before him. Alex Smith at that time was a first-round talent, but Aaron Rodgers was clearly had a better career, And Alex Smith is still, I'd still start him as a quarterback today. But just to say, it's always the guy that you might not expect. And Aaron Rodgers, look at the career he's had. He's going to end up as a Packer. He's going to end his career as a Packer with millions of dollars and a championship and 2 MVPs.
Yeah, and one of the greatest quarterbacks in my opinion.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the NFL draft. I just want to see. There's so many quarterbacks this year and so much talent that it's going to be interesting. Interesting. I can't wait.
I like it.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for giving me an hour of your time in this quarantine fucking apocalypse. It's insane. I went to Walmart today. I went to the weed store. Then I went to Walmart.
Walmart's open?
Oh yeah. Walmart's
food.
open, and I went to get some groceries there, and there was a lot of people. You know, people are.
The amount of people going in.
Yeah, they're allowing free for all right now.
Because my grocery store, what they do is they only allow X amount of people going in.
Good.
So what they do is they give you, as you walk in, they give you Purell. So you wash your hands, you disinfect, and they spray down your entire grocery cart.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's good. But there's
I saw in Walmart there's girls and guys going around and wiping all the ATM machines, like the debit cards and everything that people touch, the carts, everything. I mean they're very proactive at it. Obviously Walmart's a big company. They have a lot of employees. They can pay them, you know. So they're being proactive. It's just that maybe if they see, I think they have it in place that if it starts getting too busy, would they stop allowing a certain amount of people in the store, you know?
Yeah, I think they have to.
Because a lot of people just go there right now to get groceries. No one is in the fucking clothes section. No one's in the toy section. No one's in the electronics section, right? It's all in the food section because it's like, and a lot of stuff isn't there, you know, like I went today and there's a few things that my wife gave me on the list and I couldn't find, you know, stuff that in the frozen sections, you know, like frozen stuff, you know.
Well, people are just getting frozen food just to store, you know.
Yeah.
Like I bought like a bag of these like frozen little mini pizzas. So you microwave like 6 or 7 of those and you're good. You know?
Yeah. It's the thing is though, when you have kids like me, it's like, I don't want to go out as often, but it's like we're at home. We're all eating shit. It's like we have to go. I went Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I went again today, you know. So
I was thinking about slapping on my cleats and going for a run at the park, do some drills.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
By myself, no contact.
I think I'm gonna start going out for runs, you know, doing like 5Ks and stuff, and just to keep my cardio up, you know. But it's like as much as this is, you know, bullshit and like scary and stuff, like for me with my head injury and stuff like that, it's like it's giving me all this time to just recuperate. Like my body is like, what the fuck's going on right now? Like
why are you feeling so good?
Yeah, honestly, like, you know, like it's like, wow, you know. So in a way I'm thankful for that, but I'd trade it all to be able to fucking go to the gym, you know, or at least people be able to go outside without being scared of dying, you know.
I'm in jiu-jitsu right now, like, and my teacher, he's doing like live seminars online and stuff, so I need a partner, you know, so I can't just do it by myself.
Get yourself a dummy or some shit.
Fuck, I should.
Make it out of fucking duct tape. I remember at TriStar they had this wrestling buddy and they had fucking wrapped it with gray duct tape everywhere, so you could just use it. Yeah, you could just use it as like a dummy for like jiu-jitsu drills and stuff, like arm bars and stuff, or even wrestling drills. We used to use it all the time.
Chair online for like a jiu-jitsu dummy. I'm like, I'm never doing that. Never.
I saw a guy with a chair and he put his gi on the chair and he had put something in the arm. He was drilling like Kimuras over and up and over. And I was like, yo, he was drilling Kimuras and arm bars on the chair. I'm like, you gotta be committed to that shit, man.
Fucking guys.
Anyway, man, I appreciate it. Maybe we'll do it again next week or something.
Always.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers.